Hello everyone and welcome back to our wind series where we're going through and creating a wind system that's more of a stylized look. So last time we made our mesh for our wind pipe. We're now going to make that part of our Niagara system so we can spawn it in and animate the wind texture going along it. So let's jump in and take a look. So this is where we left off last time, where we had the wind mesh and material set up. Obviously we don't need to use this anymore. We can delete it if we like, and it's already saved in our content browser. If you ever wonder where the models are saved when you've made them, they are in the same location as the map. So this is the first person map. You can go into first person, maps, and it's in generated, and you'll find it there. I can just rename it SM Wind 01. Okay, so next I'm going to create the Niagara system. So I'm going to go ahead, right click, and create Niagara system. I'm going to choose an empty one, finish that, and we'll call it NS_wind. So in the Niagara system, we have an empty one here. So this is just the system node. We want to make our own emitter. So I'm going to right click in here and add emitter. And we're just going to choose an empty one. We don't need anything fancy just yet. So the first thing we need to do is make it spawn a mesh rather than sprites, which is what it does by default. And you can see that right at the bottom, it says render sprite renderer. We can delete that. Instead, in the render section, we're going to click on the little plus button and choose the mesh renderer. With the mesh renderer selected, this is called a module, by the way. We click on this, we see the details show for that module. So on the right hand side of the mesh renderer, I can go to meshes, open this up, and now I can search for and use my wind. O1. Next, we need to make it spawn into the world. And that is achieved by going to the emitter update. I'm going to click on the plus button for this, and I'm going to choose a spawn rate. I'm going to do a spawn rate of 1 for now. Okay, and there's my one particle spawning over and over again. Stop moving, not animated, anything like that. So let's focus on just getting it animated. So to animate this, I need to change that dynamic parameter across on my Niagara system. To do that, we're updating it every tick or the whole entire time the particles are live. To do something like that, we need to go into the particle update section. On particle update, we can click on the little plus button, and again, we're going to search for that dynamic parameter. If it's all gone right and well, you should see your value that you typed in as the name of the dynamic parameter in last episode appear here. Now, this value can be set here manually to whatever you like, and it will change the location of our highlighted section. But I actually want this to animate. Now, one thing that you could do is easily animate this by just making it say, use the value of the lifetime of the particle. So I'm going to click on the little down arrow next to that value option, and I'm going to search for normalized age. What normalized age basically does, it'll take the age of the particle and normalize it between 0 and 1. So therefore, we only get the particle doing the whole thing over the course of its lifespan. Now, the reason why we're seeing this effect is because it's actually spawning in multiple particles. And that's because in an initialized particle, our lifetime is set to 5 seconds. So we're going to see 5 pretty much at one time going on in here. So I'm going to change this down to 0.75. Now we should see a sort of like line sort of wisp through a train track almost. Next, I'll need to make it spawn in different locations. So I'm going to go to particle spawn, click on the plus button here, and you should see one of the suggested options is a shape location. This will make it spawn in a random location around the emitter, but determined by the shape that you give it over here. So the default is a sphere shape, which you can pretty much leave as you'd like. But as you can see here, it's spawning in our wind now in a randomized shape pattern. If I increase the spawn rate to maybe 3, you can see the wind intensity increase. I increase the shape location's radius to maybe 500. You see a lot more of that wind shape going through here. And there are different shapes you want to use. You can by all means play about with these and mess about with it however you like. But that is generally what you want to do. You just want to tell it to spawn in a random location around the emitter. Bring it down, I think, to 300. Next thing I want to do is make it so the particle actually fades in and fades out. So at the moment, it's just always visible, just sort of pops into view. We're going to make it fade in and fade out. To do that, we need to go into particle update and mess about the particle color. So just search for color, and you just want the one that just says color. And over here on the right hand side, we're going to change the color here and drop down to color from curve. Now, at the moment, nothing's going to be anything different. And that's because our material has not been set up to use the alpha of our color. Let's go ahead and edit that material. I go back to my mwind, and on our particle color, the A values are alpha. We want to multiply this by our value going currently into our opacity. Multiply that by our amp there, put into opacity. Now, another thing we can do to improve the look of our wind is changing that it is not going to be lit. At the moment, all materials by default are lit. So I'm going to change that. So go down to the shading model in the left-hand side with the brown node selected and choose from default lit to unlit. When you do that, you'll see a lot of these nodes go grayed out. So you just need to drag in your RGB into emissive color. You should see that wind coming through there now. Okay, so now it's going to fade away at the end of its life. And you can see them fading in the distance there. I actually want it to fade in a little bit too. So on this graph here, this curve, we're going to click on the bottom row and drag this pin in from the left into the middle a little bit. And then I'm going to click on the side here, add another pin and change its opacity down to 0. And what you should see is this sort of look where it sort of fades in solid and then fades out again. Save that. And now we've got some wind. Drag it into my scene. And you can kind of see how it's looking when you got it selected like that. But there's our wind. And we can further improve it by just tweaking, modifying the model if we want as well, by maybe tapering the ends in. But another thing I want to do in here is actually want to make an alternative model. So I can pick between the two. So we're going to create another shape. So for this, I'm going to just drag out my original shape inside our map and bring in our wind model. And I'm just going to go to modeling mode. And for this, I want to make sure I duplicate this. I don't want to just use it as is. I want to duplicate it. So go to Xform and you should see the duplicate option. And here I'm going to change the name of it to SMWind02. Accept. Okay, so now we're using the SMWind02, meaning if I change this, it won't change it anywhere else. Now what I'm going to do is make a little curve in this one. I'm going to make it more extreme, like little like loop the loop. So let's go ahead and do that. So for this, oh, there we go. We can go deform, and the first thing I need to do is I need to add more subdivisions in to my material. So into my mesh, sorry. So let's go into actually the mesh option, no model option, sorry. Go to polygroup edit, go insert edge loops. And we should be able to insert some more edge loops into our shape here. Might make it easier for myself and just make it change the material to something else. Just to make my life a little bit easier. There we go. To add more seams into this, we need to make it so that we can add edge loops into this. But if you go to polygroup edit, at the moment this is all one polygroup. So if I go to insert edge loop, it can't. So what we need to do is make it so it can do that for all of the object. So let's go cancel this, go down to attributes. I'm going to go to generate polygroups. And in here, I'm going to change the option from conversion mode to find quads. And that's basically going to find every single quad polygon and make it its own sort of thing. hit accept. And now if I go to model boolean poly group edit, insert edge loop, I can now add more edge loops to this thing. So we're going to add more edge loops into this because this is going to curve around into a loop. We're going to need more things to play with. Like this. Okay, next is I need to maneuver the whole thing around so I can manipulate it. So for this, I'm going to actually go over to the right hand side, keep the selection filter to edges, but I'm going to choose the edge loops option. And when I do that, I can select this and it will set the whole edge loop, which makes it a little bit easier to work with. So let's start off by looping this thing. So I'm going to go select all these pieces. Like so. And let's rotate them up. Oh, didn't select that for some reason. Okay. It's a bit finicky sometimes, but we'll get there. Like this. So it's going to loop and be offset a little bit. So I'm going to bring it out a little bit as it's doing this. Maybe turn off the snap for the rotation. And then I'm going to hold down control. And hopefully, there you go. Control and click. You can deselect parts as you go. So I'm just going to do this. You may need to add more loops in to get those extra details. Make the curve more of a curve. Go back to that. Select those points. So you get like a loop the loop like this. Now what's important about this is that you don't mess about by messing with the UVs. You still want the UVs to be basically as they are. So if I hit accept now, what we're going to see if I go back and change this to the wind, what it'll do is it'll go hit the loop and go round the loop and round the other side. So I can actually test that out by putting it into my Niagara system. So let's go into my Niagara system. And on the mesh renderer, actually we're going to copy this and paste it down. I'm going to change the mesh renderer to use a different mesh this time. We're going to use O2. And you'll see some of them coming in now with like swirls. And here we can mess about with their lifetime a little bit. So I'll make these ones a little bit longer. So maybe 1 there. Spawn rate, we're going to change it down to like 1. Change everyone spawn rate to 2 maybe. Something like that. You sort of see how they're sort of go around these little loops. Okay, so if I delete the previous one we were working on and go back to my game mode, see that wind coming into an effect there. Obviously, customize the mesh however you want. You can do a few more if you want, and do some really cool, crazy shapes if you like. Use the sculpt tool. You can use whatever mesh kind of design you want, so long as it sticks within that 0 to 1 range in a linear fashion. You're good to go. So there we go. We've got a more complex looking Niagara system now with our wind and different wind meshes and making it move around and swirl and other things like that. But what would be really useful is having some kind of wind controller which can control the direction of our wind at any point using just one actor. So no matter how many of these wind actors you put in, they'll always follow the same rule. So the next part, we're going to go through how to achieve that. You can find the next part right now over on patreon.com/Ryan Laley. We can find that video plus many others from just $1 a month. A massive thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members for their continued support in the channel. If you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.